Hey everyone, just a short video. I'm going to quickly cover on a topic which I was asked to cover. Hold on one second, I'm just going to switch the camera view. I asked people to tell me what they think I should speak about on these videos, and one guy got back to me. I'm sure other people will soon too. Just switch that off. Okay, so one guy got back to me and said, of course, that Palestine needs everybody's help right now. Palestinian people need everybody's help, and I agree. And I have already recorded two very, very long videos, which I originally thought were just going to be edited together like last time, but then I thought, look, it's nearly 2 hours worth of stuff, so I might just make that a part one and a part two for anybody who wants to read it. There's also an article that I wrote where I kind of followed a train of thought on the subject, and probably went a few places that most people wouldn't think to go, but I thought I'd just do something quick here so that, partly, for my own selfish benefit, that because I'm learning how to do all this stuff, I need to, have some shorter content as well. But also, I guess, because the topic is important, and if some people have less time to view material and listen to material, but they want to see things and hear opinions, then it makes sense to have some shorter stuff as well. And so I guess I can briefly try to summarize what it was that I was talking about elsewhere, where I effectively focused on a few different things in that longer content, one of which was the legal aspect of, does Israel exist as a valid state? Does it have a right to defend itself? And then the quick answer is no, they don't. They're not a valid state. They don't have a right to exist. A proper interpretation of law must understand that there are fundamentals to law. So forget what actual law might be written at any one time. And I'll skip past the whole difference between legislation and law, because many people misinterpret legislation as law. In fact, it is social contract, not law. It is corporate contract, not law. It operates under the law. It must abide by the law. It has areas of law which influence it, but it is not itself law. It is a contract. It's an agreement, and as such, subject to the law. So when we talk about the law, there's international law, which is relevant, but even more fundamental than that are the bases of law. And here you want to look at issues of like logic and reasoning and so forth, because without these things you don't have a legal argument. And the entire legal system, the entire system of law, is based upon argument, reasoning, logic, evidence. And when you look at it from that perspective and then combine it with those higher order areas of law, like the international law on the subject, human rights and whatnot, and the sovereignty of states, you cannot come to any other conclusion that the fact that Israel is an unlawful occupation. Anything it does comes under unlawful occupation. It has committed countless war crimes, crimes against humanity. Its entire citizenry are mandatorily, military service. Therefore, you can't just use the excuse that you walk into somebody's house, murder everybody, steal their stuff, and then say, I'm off duty now, I'm a civilian, you can't touch me, right? The Palestinians have the right under law to defend themselves from unlawful occupation, from persecution. The Israelis are the occupation force. They don't have such a right. Now, I know that they're going to do it anyway, but they don't have the right under law to do it. So that's really what the question is, and that's the undeniable answer. There's no counter-argument. This is just the facts. Now, the other thing that I got into was, well, how do evil people take control in the world? How do people get brainwashed? And really, a lot of this, whether we're talking about Islamophobia, whether we're talking about the phobia brainwashed into Israelis to hate and fear Palestinians kind of thing, and what leads them to this gleeful murder spree. They are literally on film, filming themselves, gleefully murdering women, children, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, grandparents, cousins, nephews, nieces, friends, colleagues, everybody being murdered by a bunch of people smiling about it. That's sick. You are a bunch of utterly sick, disgusting, despicable, bigoted fuckheads. It is hard to convey just how revolted I am by the pathetic cowardice of those Israelis who, even when they protest, they're only protesting about their own best interests. Like, forget all the people being murdered, on the land which these people are native to. They are locals. They are Arabs, not some European fly-ins. And you are surrounded on all sides by Arabs. So how do you claim that you, very, very white Europeans, somehow, even in the ancient world, belong there? No, the reason why these other people are darker skinned than you is because they came from this region. That's why people in the north, in the cold, in the mountains, in the snow are white. That's why people in the south, in the center of the world, around the equator and close to it, that's why they're darker. And you get close to the equator, you get close to these hotter regions, you get darker. Why? Because your ancestor out in the heat, they're going to get darker. Melanin in the skin. You go away from that in the snow, in the mountains, you're going to get lighter. A Scotsman is just an African who spent more time in the snow. That's it. That's the difference between us. Right? Genetically speaking, there's bugger all difference. And to believe in the insane thing that you are somehow a superior being, well, the very fact that you claim to be like genetically superior means you don't understand evolution or genetics, because there's no such thing. All right? There is only contextual superiority for a specific set of circumstances and conditions and so forth, and the exact same thing might be weaker in a different thing, which could very well happen. Survival of a species could be by the pure chance of not being at ground zero when an asteroid hits. That's what natural selection really means. It's not survival of the fittest, it's selection by natural processes, including the random chance of whether or not you're at ground zero when an asteroid hits. The tendency over time is that useful things will go forward, useful to those conditions present. Change the conditions, it's no longer useful. Something else will be more useful. Right? So forget about this whole idea of being God's chosen people, superior beings. It's all bullshit. And if you believe it, you're an egotist and an idiot. And you have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, you're not superior to the Palestinians. You are inferior to anybody who, by the age of 30 or however old you are, has figured out the difference between the bullshit we are told and what is right in front of your eyes, people suffering and dying. And if you don't have a heart for that, you're an asshole. The worst kind of scum. And I find it hard to say anything remotely more diplomatic than that. So I just want to say free Palestine, free Julian Assange. On the subject of how this all happens, well, stop fearing the other. Okay, go learn about them. All right, the reason why the Israelis are able to be used as a little brainwashed force against the local Arabs is partly because the British supported the Saudis into being a power, and they recognised them as being people who wouldn't give a shit about their own neighbours and too foolish to see what was coming down the track. And so they were able to divide and keep disempowered the whole Arabic world by empowering certain groups and disempowering others, and then bringing in the whole Israeli project as a breachhead on that. I mean, like, the Palestinians are really just unlucky enough to live on a coastline right within reach of Europe, right? So it's like the perfect spot to land and to take hold. And amongst a people who were unfortunately governed by, ethically bankrupt, spineless people it was such foolish people that they thought they'd side with these foreign invaders instead of like the people around them, thinking that you think that they won't betray you down the track as soon as they get hungrier and there's nothing else more convenient to eat? Of course they will. So the Israelis and the Ukrainians, in both cases, being used against their own best interests, being brainwashed to hate and fear the other, the unknown, whether it's Islamophobia or Russophobia or whatever. It's like if you are being trained like Pavlov's dog to every time you see somebody and you don't even know who they are, you've never like spent time with them, blah blah blah, and it's against all reason, it's against all law, it's against all just being a decent feeling human being who knows what it feels like to feel pain. I mean, the moment you've ever burnt your finger, you should not want somebody else to burn their finger. Why? It hurt. Why would I want anybody else to hurt? What are you, a sadist? You know? If you cannot understand these concepts, then you are psychologically sick. And I really find it quite disgusting that so many people seem to be willing for a bit of ease in life, a bit of comfort in life, a bit of money, a bit of this, a bit of that, whatever, you know, some cocaine, some hookers, whatever the hell their buzz is, to just betray humanity, to create such suffering. And so far as the profit motive of people like BlackRock and Vanguard, who saw the whole Ukraine project, and I'm sure they're probably heavily invested in the Israeli project as well, you know, it's like they just see this kind of like looting and murder as a way of making money, right? So we sell a whole bunch of weapons. We get everybody else to work their asses off to pay for it. So somebody else is paying for us to ship profits to ourselves through our military armaments companies, and then we go over another country and rob them, and we share a little bit back to employees, and we keep everything peaceful, and everybody's happy. So nobody complains about the fact that we are treating them like slaves to power this machine through which we rob other people, and eventually, when we've run out of other people to rob, we'll just turn on our own domestic population. Think about it. Because at the end of the day, right, these people at the top are dumb as fuck. They didn't get where they are through brains. They got through where they are through inheritance and brutality, right? It doesn't take a genius to hold yourself to a lower standard. It doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take somebody superior or exceptional or elite. It's like, you know, you're arguing that being a dickhead is somehow better than not being a dickhead. That doesn't even make any sense. And you're so foolish, so stupid you can't see it. You're so selfish, so narcissistic, so fucked up. You know, I cannot think of anything more revolting. There is no amount of wealth, power, fame, anything these people could ever have that would be enough compensation for having to be anything remotely like them. You know, I am appalled by it. I'm revolted by it. I want nothing to fucking do with people like that if I can avoid it. Sad thing is often we can't avoid it in life. But anyway, enough of my ranting, enough of my but you know, it's like it makes you feel that way because I mean shit, I know what it's like for people to you know, be unfair towards me, and no matter what the scale of that is, you know, if you can't extrapolate that to somebody invading your country, murdering everybody that you know, everybody you love, destroying your country's infrastructure, destroying your business, stealing your land, all this kind of stuff, well, then you have no heart. How can you not extrapolate that? It's like all the stuff you suffered all together, all at once, and a million times worse, and you can't escape it because it's like you're stuck there until they kill you. What is hard to fathom about how bad that would be? You know, I'm not saying you have to be able to imagine it exactly. That's not the point. The point is not to be able to completely, totally know exactly what it feels like to be in their shoes. You don't need to. You just have to know that it's really, really, really shit, and you would like be in every respect more fucked up than you'd ever been before in your entire life. And probably everybody you know combined, all in the one situation that you can't escape. And what I find truly revolting is that it's these people who think that they are superior. You aren't superior to anything at all. You're not superior to a pedophile. You're not superior to a psychopath. You're not superior to an insane person. And years ago, I kind of got a bit upset about people sort of, you know, like insulting somebody else by calling them a dog, you know, because certain people think that calling somebody a dog is an insult. But I mean, I love dogs, you know, I didn't want to hear dogs spoken of that way. And some other people talk about others as being a pig. And I think, well, okay, I get it. But at the same time, I mean, my dad and stepmom actually had a pet pig for a while, and it was very cute. It was a big, huge thing. And it just wanted tummy rubs like a dog. You know, it would come in the house. You know, and it doesn't matter what animal you choose. It cannot be used as an insult to an innocent creature. You know, cockroaches are just minding their own business, and they're doing a useful job. They're helping break down and decompose things. Pigs are doing, well, they're wandering out, you know, having a good time, you know, having sex with another pig, whatever they're doing. Dogs just love toys and food and licking you in the face and stuff like that, you know. So, anyway, I came up with a phrase which I think applies in this case. To say that somebody is an insult to a thing that would be an insult to shit if shit were referred to as that thing. And that is what I think of the whole Israeli situation. It's just an insult to shit. You know, shit at least serves a purpose. You can compost it, you can turn it into great little soil with worms and everything that'll grow nice veggies. You know? I think of the whole Israeli situation as not even a shadow of that. You know, I really, you know, I'm kind of stuck for anything else to say, really. It's like, I did go into a big thing in these other two videos, so if you feel up to, like, you know, watching me talk at length, I'll edit that as two parts. But I just wanted to say this, and again, free Palestine, free Julian Assange, fight against these idiots in power, because they haven't a collective clue. They are not the cream of the crop. As Jarvis Cocker said, go listen to the song Cunts Are Still Running the World, in which song in the lyrics he says, they say the cream always rises to the top. Well, I say shit floats. Good night, everybody.